It's human to doubt, it's human to struggle, it's human to hurt, it's human to crumble, it's human to feel like I'm in it alone. It's human to feel what is unknown. I am only flesh and bone, in my heart I know, never give up.
The Automotive Aftermarket Charitable Foundation was created to help those in the automotive aftermarket who have fallen on hard times.
Never give up.
Joining us today, something new, something we've never done. Our guest is John Kairys. He is the executive director of the Automotive Aftermarket Charitable Foundation. It's called AACF, and it has existed since 1959. They support individuals, families, all within the automotive aftermarket for life's hardships, accidents, illness, deaths in the family, natural disasters, financial, all of the things that a charity should do for the automotive aftermarket. I will admit that this is one of these things that when I've heard of, seems too good to be true, but it is true. They raise money, they give it to those who need it. So let's learn more. John, welcome to the show.
Well, hi, Rob, and thank you very much for this opportunity. Glad to be with you.
My pleasure, and I appreciate you reaching out in the first place. And every now and then I'll get an email from someone that says, "Hey, I enjoy your show." And then it's usually a phishing email or something like that, John. but you really listen to this show, and you are the executive director of the AACF. So I'm just curious, John, what's your personal background in cars unrelated to AACF? Why are you even interested in classic cars?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I've always been a car guy. When you look at my history in terms of my career, I spent 40 plus years in the aftermarket. I started in my teens working at a service station back when you pumped gas, you washed windshields, you filled filled folks' tires with air, checked their oil, and it evolved into the parts industry. Got involved with the tire industry as well, with great companies such as Pirelli and Cooper, and ended up in retailing, wholesale distribution, and franchising, all in the automotive aftermarket space. So just a long career in the aftermarket. Always have been a car guy. I've always loved cars. I've really gravitated toward trucks and off-road vehicles in my early days. I built a couple different trucks, and now I have a Jeep in the garage. It's just a very mild altered Wrangler Unlimited that I really enjoy. I live in Florida, so we have a tendency to go to the beach every once in a while on the weekends, and it's just a wonderful vehicle for that. But my love for vehicles and more importantly for passion for muscle cars, and growing up in the 70s, of course, I was exposed to that era, and just great vehicles, and came across your show just on a walk, and just one day, it was about 3 years ago, I guess, almost now. And I just searched for automotive podcast, and all of a sudden the MuscleCar Place popped up, and I just said, "This is a natural." So I've been listening to you for that long and really enjoying your show. So appreciate what you do, Rob.
Hot dog, the algorithm works.
Yes,
Hook them one at a time. Yeah. Were your parents into cars? I mean, you mentioned, working at a service station. Are you a second or third generation car person, or are you just out on your own? You've made a life out of it.
Well, I guess there is something there, and I tell this story. So my father, unfortunately, I lost my dad when I was 12. But he was always into cars. I can remember when I was younger that he was always bringing something home new and, showing it off to the family and to the neighbors. And so I kind of grew up in this, hey, look at these new vehicles. I always was paying attention to cars. But the irony of all this is, as my mother told me the story once, that She was my mom and dad were on the way to the hospital before I was born, and my father insisted in stopping and getting the car washed before they got to the hospital. So I think that has something to do with it. I'm pretty conscious about the look of my vehicles, making sure they're always clean, of course, and that might have something to do with it, Rob. So I don't know.
Was that the second kid or like what?
Oh my
Had your
goodness.
dad been there and done that? Like, we ain't got time for a car wash. We've got.
Yeah, I think it may have happened before. I never got to the bottom of that, whether it was repetitive. I'm one of four, and the last one, by the way. So it could have by chance may have happened before. I don't know.
Yeah, but by our third kid, I made some chili before we left for the hospital. It does happen. Okay, so somehow you've had this wonderful career, and for a lot of people, that's enough. How did you become aware of AACF, much less become involved in it?
It was through a coworker. I had my last job that I had various positions, or last company I worked for, should I say, was TBC Corporation down in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida here. And TBC, a lot of people don't know who they are, but names like Big O Tires, Midas, Tire Kingdom, NTB, NTW, those are all entities of which they own and operated at one time. And
Oh, wow.
there was a coworker of mine that was on the board of the AACF, a fellow by the name of Andy Dudash. And Andy, to this day, very good friend. He's since retired, of course, but Andy is actually still on the board. Andy got me involved, and I joined the board of trustees and was on the board of trustees for about 4 years, I think. And then I actually retired from TBC Corporation, and I was retired for a little over a year. And as the story goes, as I tell it, is the executive committee had my wife's phone number and called her and said, "Aren't you sick and tired of having him getting your hair at home? He needs to go back to work." So
Hmm.
I think she accomplished half of what she was trying to accomplish. I went back to work as the executive director. They were searching for a new executive director. The previous one had retired, and so I had that opportunity and went to work for them full time, and just a dream job. I mean, you go through a retirement stage, and everybody wants to coach you through that. They want to make sure you get through it successfully and it isn't too taxing on your mental or physical state. And everybody talks about passion and purpose. And I could tell you that I can check both those boxes with this role that I have with the foundation. Certainly the passion for the automotive industry and the aftermarket, but the purpose to really have a great role in terms of giving back to the folks that have supported this industry and really supported me and my family over those 40 plus years that I mentioned. So it's a great gig.
When you told me about it, I did what anybody does. I Googled it and I started to read up and learn. So, who founded AACF in 1959?
Oh my goodness gracious! So it's a great story that really started a very small group of individuals, humble beginning, if you will. A number of gentlemen that got together. So it was kind of a group of folks that got together and created this foundation. They were all involved in the aftermarket, but again, thinking back in the day, back in the late 50s, early 60s, they were trying to assist and help the widows of some of their dear friends within the industry that had passed away. So,
Mm-hmm.
Again, kind of imagine it, right? So, somebody, one of their friends would pass away, was involved in the industry for a number of years. And back then, there wasn't a lot of financial planning, and like we really pay attention to things today, I don't believe. I mean, it just, the times were different. And the breadwinner passes away. The wife is there as a widow and has a lot of financial obligations and needs some help. And so that's how it got its start. And it really just evolved over the years. There have been many individuals that are recognized throughout the history and the legacy of the AACF. One of which is a gentleman by the name of Bob Shabrel. Bob is actually the individual who our largest fundraiser, which is a very large golf tournament cocktail reception evening out at Apex and SEMA in Vegas every year. Our golf tournament is named after him. But yeah, it is just continuing to evolve and grow, and we couldn't be happier with the progress that the foundation is making. And again, it all comes because of the great support that we get from all different types of individuals, companies, associations within the industry. It's fantastic.
Is it funded like any normal charity? So companies can give, people can give, maybe people that have been on hard times and then rebounded. I mean, anybody can give?
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, we're a 501c3 and a nonprofit, and we do have programs that are applicable to anyone. So corporations can be, of course, financial donors. They also can get involved with our events. We have a couple different events and become a sponsor. So a sponsor of our golf event that I had just mentioned. We also have a classic car sweepstakes that you can become a sponsor of if you're a corporate entity. And then individuals can also donate. We have obviously they can donate by donating to the sweepstakes for the car and take a chance there. That's one way. We also have another recurring donation program. It's called the Aftermarket Hearts Giving Circle. And that's one of those programs with as little as $5 a month. You can get involved and donate to the foundation to as long as you wish to donate. So yeah, there's various ways that people can get involved, but donations and sponsorships are fantastic. That's what helps us fund the foundation. But the other aspect of giving and helping us is also in and around helping us drive awareness. Awareness is our biggest challenge. The industry is huge. The aftermarket is 5 million people that work in the aftermarket of all different segments and sectors. I mean, yourself, familiar with high performance accessories and the restoration business is just one part of it. And, it's also auto parts, tires and service, heavy duty and commercial parts and service, the auto body and collision sector, quick lubes, oil change, wholesale distribution, and even manufacturing. So individuals that work for any of those entities within any of those elements within the aftermarket, not only are they eligible for us to assist and help, but certainly you can get involved in helping us drive awareness. Too many people don't know who the AACF is and what it is that we do. So we need help there.
Well, can you walk me through how someone maybe who's in need would reach the AACF? How do they qualify in the first place? Just to show here's a need and I am employed.
Yeah, great question, Rob. And I think that we've tried to make it as easy as possible for somebody to do that. There is an eligibility requirement, and it's very simple. The individual only has to be employed for 1 year with a single employer within the aftermarket, again, within all those different segments I had mentioned earlier, or 3 years with multiple employers. So take a technician for an example. Sometimes technicians may, relocate and jump around from one employer to another within that span of a year. It happens. So that's kind of our catch-all to be able to, help those individuals as well. But there is an application, a pre-application. It's very simple, very short, and the person that works for me, who is our operations manager, is the gatekeeper, so to speak. She takes a look at that pre-application, makes sure that you meet the eligibility requirements, and then you will receive a full-blown application, if you will, which then is, again, very easy to complete. And if for some reason, again, you had mentioned all the reasons why we were, wanting to help folks, all these life's hardships, one of those would be illnesses. So even in the fact that if you suffer from an illness and you're not capable of putting that application together, we will accept an application that has been put together on your behalf by a third party. So, we even do that. So there's just a lot of ways that we can accommodate individuals and families. The application, once it is complete, goes in front of what we refer to as a recipient review committee. And they make a decision as to whether or not it's approved, and they also make a decision on the grant amount that is provided to the person that it's applying. So right now, I could share with you that we're running in the mid 90s from approval rates on the applications.
Wow.
Partly due to that pre-qualification, if you will, and then the average grant that we're providing individuals is in around $4,000. So again, the amount of money that is provided is not these very large sum of monies, even though it does vary based on the situation. But our intent and our mission is to really be the first line of recovery, to get somebody back on their feet. A lot of times when they suffer life's hardships, they struggle with personal finances and obligations. They also just are not in the right mental state. Could be, you mentioned one of the things that we help out with is natural disasters. There's always typically some sort of recourse there. Insurance is somewhere along, within the realm of help somewhere. But that takes time. And with the AACF, you can apply, and we turn that application around in about 24 hours, and we will receive, the individual will receive the grant typically within 5 days. So again, we're quick to respond, and we want to help and get somebody back on their feet so they can really help themselves. Is what our intent is. I want to share this with you. We have a board member that used this analogy, and I use it all the time, but he said the AACF is the on-ramp to the freeway of recovery. And I just think it's just so fitting. So wanted to share that with you.
It's pretty damn efficient, John. I mean, when you hear about recovery, often you think of government recovery, and that is usually slow and confusing and sometimes full of people trying to apply fraudulently and all that stuff here. So it sounds like you've got a pretty tight organization, been there, done that. And since it's so focused on the aftermarket, you're really getting, you're probably getting very few people who aren't in the right lane when they apply in the first place, I would guess.
Yeah, very few.
You mentioned a lot of scenarios. Do you have any examples of people in personal situations? I mean, I know that the big natural disaster in North Carolina a couple of years ago was probably one that hit you, but who all would apply? Like, to anybody in particular that you remember?
Oh yeah. Oh sure. So again, when I mentioned all those different sectors of the aftermarket, it also applies to all different capacities of folks, right? So it's technicians and service riders, it's counterpersons and drivers, it's warehouse and delivery workers. It's not only those that are earning hourly rates, but also salary. So folks like managers and assistant managers, field sales folks, and even corporate roles. So a couple stories that really stick in my mind that I share given the opportunity. One was a female technician from Louisiana. She was a single parent. The ages of three kids, the ages of 3, 5, and 7, I believe. They were like 2 years apart. And she came down with thyroid cancer. And unfortunately, she had to go through some procedures and some treatments. She got done with the first round of those, and unfortunately, she had to have some more. And so this lasted for several months. And again, there's a silver lining, she did have insurance, as I had mentioned, is part of the recovery. However, given the fact she's a single parent, she's trying to take care of her kids, she's going through all this treatment, her financial obligations really slipped and she fell behind. So we were able to step in, and we assisted and helped her with things like back rent that was due, and we actually helped her with some future rent payments. We helped her in the same vein with car payments. There was past due car payments, and so there was some relief there, as well as future payments, utilities bills that were unpaid, just things like that. So we were very, involved with trying to get her financial situation righted, if you will, and back on track, so that it would help her get through that after she had finished her treatments. And again, good news is she's still with us as far as I know, which is a fantastic story there as well. So there is another story too, and this kind of represents the salary side of things too. A corporate employee. We had a gentleman that was employed in the high performance manufacturing area. I think he worked for a turbocharger company, and he suffered a back injury. And it was just a simple procedure that he was going to go and have fixed, and went in for surgery, and unfortunately came out paralyzed from the waist down. And
Good Lord.
yeah, and this is a gentleman had a young family, two kids. One was less than a year old, so he himself is very young. And just like I had mentioned before, I'm sure he has recourse, that he'll pursue individually, but trying to get him help right away, and because we know that process all takes time, and trying to pursue legalities and everything else, insurance and every other issue that he has to deal with, we were able to provide him with the needs for accessibility in his home, needs like having a ramp built, and a mobile wheelchair, and it was incredible. The gentleman really had an outstanding point of view in life, because even in providing us with his story and allowing us to use that story, there was a sense of humor there. And he thanked us profusely, but at the very end said, "I wanted to thank the AACF for getting me back on my wheels." So this gentleman is just dealing with just a really tough hardship. But again, we were glad to be part of his recovery, and hopefully put a positive aspect on his outlook in life. So
I'm just curious, how big is the AACF from a staffing perspective?
yeah, you had mentioned that about being efficient, and I guess that was one thing I did want to mention. We are extremely lean. The staff consists of two people. Myself, yeah, myself as the executive director, and I have the operations manager, a gal by the name of Misty Walker. And Misty is, as all lean organizations have a right-hand person, and she is my right-hand person. She's my Swiss Army knife and jack of all trades, if you will, or Jan of all trades. And she just does a great job. But we work really, really hard in what we do. But again, the beauty of the organization is that the board of trustees is fairly substantial. We have 29 members on our board, and those individuals are all volunteering their time. They all have occupations and roles that are full time, and they provide us with their intellect, their experience, their input, their feedback on all different types of things. Our organization is structured in a committee-based organization. I had mentioned the recipient review committee being one of them, and that in itself, knowing that those folks respond within 24 hours to the applications, is just a testimony of how dedicated and how passionate they are about the foundation, and how much help we get from them. So these individuals too are representative of all different companies and associations within the aftermarket. I had mentioned these associations that we have relationships with. First of all, if you're very familiar with SEMA, SEMA has a board seat, MEMA, Auto Care Association, and the TIA, which is the Tire Industry Association as well, all represented. And then we have folks representing all the major auto parts retailers, so Napa and O'Reilly's, AutoZone, Advance, and folks like Pronto, Federated, all those companies represented, Valvoline, Interstate, service companies. So there's just a whole plethora of just wonderful and great dedicated individuals that are helping us behind the scenes. So
I'd mentioned, just as a complete coincidence, we're working with Catherine Reinhardt on a different initiative, completely unrelated. Had no idea she was a board member of AACF. She is. I mentioned to her, hey, I'm going to talk to John here, and she says, this organization is near and dear to my heart. So it gives me the understanding that the people that are a part of this isn't a bunch of people networking for business connections. This is people probably working behind the scenes, just with a heart of gold mentality. When you are in a service thing where you're helping people, it's hard. It's just flat out hard. I get it. For a while, John, I did financial counseling with people, and I learned that the financial counseling part, the math was easy. The emotional strain of it was more than I could bear. I wasn't prepared to hear everyone's burden every day and understand, and then live with it without becoming a part of it. And you do have to somewhat process with them, not for them, and then offer aid. So that it's just a magnanimous thing. I'm thrilled to learn about this. Do you have more people needing help, or do you need more people donating to the foundation? You probably need both all the time, but where do you need the most help that our audience can help with?
Yeah, I think again, there's two aspects of again our priorities, and the first priority is driving the number of recipients that we can help. We actually have set a goal, Rob. We want to put $1 million in the hands of those that need it within our industry, we have probably our biggest year that the foundation's ever had was probably 3/4 of the way there. The good news is with the things that we're doing now to drive awareness, we're actually on pace to come pretty close to that $1 million this year. So we're really excited about that. And so that's part of the awareness aspect. The more that people know about us, the more people we can help. So we would ask folks to really, again, spread the word. If you hear this story and by listening to your podcast, share it with others. But more importantly, if you hear of someone that is needing some help that is within our industry, please send them our direction because we can certainly help them. The revenue side is the other aspect of it. And, of course, being somewhat lean, we try to take as much as possible that we receive and put those funds back in the hands of the folks that need it. So we're trying to, again, achieve a similar goal with the revenue side. So it requires, donations that we had mentioned before. It requires sponsorships on the corporate level, and then just individuals that feel so compelled that maybe you're employed in this industry and you just feel as though, like myself, maybe it's a long tenure in this industry and you'd like to give back to the industry that has supported you and your family for all those years, or you're somebody that may have just started a few years ago and you just want to share some of that help with your brothers and sisters in the business that you're in. But more importantly, God forbid that you would ever need to reach out yourself to the AACF for help. We will be there for you. So I think it's just, again, very gratifying on both sides. Gratifying that we're in a position that we can give, and also very gratified and appreciative of those that can help us as well.
I think when we had talked on the phone, you mentioned last year you did your first classic car sweepstakes, and you might do another one this year. What did you do last year? What are you doing this year?
Yeah, no, we're full at it right now. So we started. Would have been last year. Last year was our 65th anniversary. Again, starting in 1959, the foundation. And it was just a thought and an idea because, again, I'm very passionate about cars. I participate. And there's, as you know, there is a plethora of car sweepstakes out there for charity. And I get personally involved myself. And, of course, I've never been so fortunate to win anything, but I do participate and donate. And the thought came up and said, why don't we get involved with this? Let's do it. So we celebrated our 65th anniversary by holding a sweepstakes. We went out and procured a 1965 Mustang convertible. And just a beautiful car. It was just a gorgeous yellow, black top and black interior, 289. It was a C code. It was just a really clean car. Had factory air in it, so wow. It had some unique options. So the winner of that is a great story. Is a retired elementary school teacher from Arizona, and when I called him to let him know that he had won, he got extremely emotional. And with me, he started to tear up, and he told me a story. He said, John, he says, I'm 74 years old. He says, I have wanted a 1965 Mustang convertible since I was 15, and I never had one. He said, but he says, I will tell you that he said in 19, I think he said like in the early 70s sometime, I don't recall the year, but he bought a 64 and a half coupe. and he
Yeah.
still has it today. So when the car was delivered to him in Arizona, he took a picture not only with himself out there in the beautiful scenery, but he took a picture of himself in front of the garage with the two Mustangs in the garage, and it just was a wonderful story. So he was not involved in the aftermarket, employed in the aftermarket. He was an elementary school teacher, right?
Yeah.
But he was a car enthusiast, and so he jumped all over the opportunity. This year, we have a 1969 Pontiac Firebird. And it too is a gorgeous vehicle. It's done in champagne gold. It too has some unique options. It's got factory air in it as well. It's got factory discs, and it's a 350 automatic. It's just a beautiful car. Wheel and tire package that was donated to us, so it comes with not only the original rally wheels and the white lettered tires, but also has a set of 17s with mags on it as well. It's just a gorgeous vehicle. So we're looking forward to put that in the hands of some lucky donor, and looking forward to giving that away. It goes off on June 2nd. We'll announce the winner. So
You must have been in the wheel and tire industry in the 80s. Mags. Nobody
yeah.
said.
Oh, sorry. A beautiful set of 17-inch American racing wheels. There you go.
There you go. I love it. I love it. How do you enter to try to win it? Where's the sweepstakes?
So you can find the sweepstakes. We post a lot of opportunity to enter the sweepstakes on our social media sites. So again, as I mentioned about helping us drive awareness, please follow us on social media, whatever platform you choose. We participate in Facebook and Instagram and a little bit on X, and also LinkedIn as well. But you can follow us, look for the Automotive Aftermarket Charitable Foundation. That is the AACF, but out in social media, you have to search by our full name. So Automotive Aftermarket Charitable Foundation. You can also find out more about any of the things that we're talking about here today on our website as well, which is the aftermarketcharity.org. And it's very important. It's .org, O-R-G. So again, just lots of information out there about getting help, about becoming a donor or sponsor, about getting involved with the Classic Car Sweepstakes, about the Aftermarket Hearts Giving Circle. I mean, you can find it all there.
John, it's been a pleasure. And I think people listening have a smile on they may have a need, but they definitely have a smile on their face to understand, like, good things like this do exist out in the world. Maybe you've heard of it before. Maybe you've never heard of it. It's there. And it really is an altruistic, help your fellow man in need type of organization. It's great. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. We'll share all of the links. You have a wonderful day, and good luck to whoever wins the Firebird. Hope you get the mags. Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob. And again, we can't thank you enough for helping us get the word out there about who the AACF is and what we can do to help those in our industry. So thank you again for your time. And again, I appreciate what you do. I really enjoy your show and will continue to be a staunch listener. And I look forward to actually expanding my listening base with some of your other podcasts other than the MuscleCar Place. But keep up the great work. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
All right.
Bye.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.